Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We've reached episode 820. It's being recorded on April 23, 2025. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom on mute the whole episode.
I'm Josh Walbrith.
No one knows how we've done it, but we'll never do it again. I'm Brett Van Spoonberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
We're back for another week of excellence in podcasting, and you can be a part of this journey that we've been on for so many years by going to patreon.com/PCPer. Yes, this entire podcast is just an elaborate advertisement for our Patreon. Please give lavishly, shock us with your indulgences.
Because we're almost as old as YouTube itself.
Actually, yes, we didn't quite predate
YouTube
it. We
turned 20 today.
But we're at least as old as Google's YouTube, right? When did they buy that? I don't know when they bought it.
That's a memory that I have. Google buying YouTube. That means it happened,
ruining,
right?
or I mean buying. Sorry, don't cut us off because of that.
No,
Sorry.
we love you, YouTube. Thank you for letting us stream this at no cost. Okay, Brett, do we have any patrons to shout out?
You know, I especially want to shout out to that LT guy. Now, is that LT is in like the engine LT? You know, I'm just not sure. I mean, the
Linus
lieutenant
capital I?
guy.
Linus Tech.
Or Linus Tech guy. You know, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure, but definitely LT guy. Thank you very, very much. And also want to mention AC for staying with us, and Milk MD, the milk doctor, staying with us as well. Thank you very much.
Milk.
Think of all the things you can cure at home with milk.
Yeah, I think LT guy,
Calcium
AC,
deficiency.
and Milk MD sounds like a roller derby crew or something like that.
LT guy, I think, is Lawrence Taylor.
Could be.
Yeah.
But of course,
You know, Bill Belichick said he was the greatest defensive player of all time. So
Bill Belichick said a lot of things.
He had a great cameo in Waterboy. And of course, everybody laughed when he said it. And that takes us to this point. Don't do drugs, kids. And then
Don't smoke crack.
yeah.
Well, that was his thing.
Can't knock
breaking
a guy
news,
for a
Google has bought YouTube for $1.65 billion as of October 9, 2006. So no, we don't even predate the Google version of YouTube.
Well, that's too bad. I bet they haven't made their money back at all yet.
Yeah, just not once every year, at least.
Year for a couple of bloody minutes.
You know, they've finally been sued into oblivion over this whole advertising thing and paying to get
Hey,
their
we're not
search
talking about
engine
Oblivion
on
yet.
and everything.
That's later.
I could be playing it right now.
That's foreshadowing. But what people don't realize is Google no longer cares about the search revenue. They want that AI revenue. They want you to be your AI in your device nowadays. Okay, sue us. Give us whatever we have to do over this search thing. It's so yesterday. AI. We're going to be AI everywhere is Google's next thing.
Josh.
Me.
Did you eat today?
I sure did. Let me get out my phone and look at this one was called
The Sweet and Sinister?
Sweet.
Or the Chicago, not the
That's
Chicago
right.
dog.
No, it was not the Chicago. No, not the Chicago. Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Chicago. No, the Sweet and Sinister is a double patty topped with candied bacon, cheddar candy jalapenos, and a honey barbecue. And let me tell you, it was all that. When they piled on the candied bacon, let me tell you, they piled on the candied bacon. It was almost like a brisket. There was just so much bacon. Of course, you know, I guess, you know, to be correct would be like pork belly. Yeah, double patty, a ton of candied bacon, a lot of jalapenos, and then the honey barbecue sauce. It was very rich, super rich, tasty. The cheddar cheese, outstanding. Everything melted together. My hands stayed relatively clean, but I had to work at it because that honey barbecue sauce was all over the place. It had a good, you know, amount of spice to it. The fries were
Jesus
okay.
wandering
They were a
too.
little overdone. Yeah. So, but no, they seem to be on an upswing, and I'm happy about that because they were getting to be not very good But the boss came back. He had been doing conferences and other things, and now I think he got them back into gear.
Shall we move on to news?
Maybe the Carolina Reapers.
I've been waiting all day to talk about this. It is so exciting.
Okay.
Intel has saved Core Ultra. No longer is it a second-tier processor to the X3D from AMD. Now
it's a third tier, competitor.
200S boost. It's an overclocking profile to give your gaming a boost with overclocking protected by Intel.
What does that mean, protected?
It means a 3-year warranty, Brett. It means you can overclock with impunity, because when you eventually blow up your system, Intel will step in and save the day, I guess. I mean, at least the processor.
It's worth it for them to claw back some performance, even if they burn a bunch of them and have to warranty them.
Exactly. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of being safe like they were, we're going to be really, really aggressive. So the fabric goes from 2.6 gigahertz up to 3.2. Die-to-die, aka D2D, 2.1 gigahertz was the original speed, up to 3.2, just like the other fabric, which is somehow different. And DDR5 from 64 up to 8,000 megatransfers per second. Now, obviously, there's already kits out there, but this is just a one-click, I guess, overclocking boost to do all of this at once. And it must be a little risky, or they wouldn't have to be advertising the fact that they're going to back this up with a 3-year warranty. It's only select motherboards, or I'm guessing eventually all Z890 boards would support it. I think some companies have come forward and said, I got an email earlier from MSI saying all of theirs support it. This list from Intel only shows the Meg Z890 Ace. Check your favorite motherboard vendor for more information. Also, there's only certain verified memory kits that work with the 8000 they're talking about, so check the QVLs for your motherboard.
Yeah,
now, do I have to go to Best Buy
one DIMM per channel, and there's some limitations.
Okay. But I don't have to go to Best Buy to download or to buy the card that gives me the download code to unlock
No, it's a digital download. You just go to Intel/overclockmysystem.net.
But I don't need to pay for the card to unlock that. Okay, good. They learned their lesson. Ish.
So we've gone from safe Intel that you can trust to let's just go hog wild.
Smoke them if you got them.
Let's throw that bowl of spaghetti across the wall and see what sticks.
I don't think they're terribly worried about warranty issues, because that would assume they have sold many of these processors.
Ouch.
And I'm pretty sure they haven't sold that many of them.
Well,
that hurts.
They have.
That's hurtful.
To HP and Dell and Acer and a bunch of the business machines that would not touch this with a 20-foot pole. Because that's not the guaranteed stability that they're looking for in a business machine, which is what these Ultras are.
Hey, they're a competitive gaming platform, Jeremy. From personal experience, I live on
and their mama told them that.
I live on an AMD X870E system down here, usually with the X3D in it. But up in the living room, the system I put together just to test the Core Ultra, and I just left it up there, and my wife ended up adopting it as her official Fortnite platform. So it plays Fortnite every day, and she's rocking the Core Ultra 285 K.
I'm glad that it's found something to do.
Huh? What was that?
Does she just shoot people, or is she a good builder?
She does not build. She does not. Oh. She doesn't usually play zero build, though. She got a victory earlier today. She's had several so far.
Wow.
Nice. It's more than I've had.
Der Bauer did a really excellent in-depth video on this that he had early access. So he'd been testing this for about a couple of weeks, I think. And he did find a performance improvement in gaming in the 285K. And in some games, it was, a double-digit percentage improvement, up to like 19%, I believe, in a couple of games. Unfortunately, it was still falling terribly short of the 9950X 3D. So it does improve the performance, but it's just not there. Now he was testing this at 1080p, and of course,
Yes.
if you go up to 1440 or 4K, you're going to see less advantage to any CPU, unless you've got an RTX 5090. But then you've got to go outside and drive your Bugatti somewhere too if you've got a 5090.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you probably just have like a G-Wagon that you use for like the winter beater to go to Micro Center.
Yeah, you haven't even started up your summer car yet.
No. Yeah, it's kind of odd to think about it this way, but if you are one of those people who was like a cost no object ultimate system, you don't have to worry as much about the CPU. Honestly, if you're playing at 4K, you're like, no, I'm only going to play 4K. I'm going to buy the most expensive graphics card every time a new one comes out, and you could get away with just about any CPU, really.
How do you feel about the memory voltages that they're pushing on that?
Intel has never been as much of a problem with memory voltage. They were talking 1.4, which is pretty conservative for
common. Yeah.
Yeah. I could be wrong. I may have to look at that again, but I thought I saw 1.4. Which
Yeah, they were
low.
1.4 was their cap on that.
For 8,000 megatransfers, 1.4, I can live with that.
I've got a 48 gig G-Skill kit that's an 8,000 kit, and it's only 1.35 at 8,000. It's got a pretty high latency, but it's DDR5. It's not not that kind of a deal that it was earlier on, but.
I have tested enough memory in the last couple of years that the latency thing is, you can see it if you run synthetic benchmarks or if you run like 7-zip, but that's about it. You don't see it in anything.
Oh, yes, you do. You lose 0.01 milliseconds from a load.
Speaking of milliseconds, I bet that's really what the advantage of this is. The memory helps, of course, but the tile architecture that they went with, which is all about efficiency and having dedicated hardware for certain tasks like watching video and things like that on a laptop, did not really translate all that well to desktop clearly. And just boosting the core-to-core fabric speed seems to be the key. But it's not enough. Like the fact that it's not immediately...
Isn't the fabric itself, kind of a ring bus from what they told us? Or
sort of, yes. Like... Not exactly.
Yeah, because the bad thing is, if you got a ring bus on a monolithic chip, it's not a big deal. But these aren't monolithic chips. It's got to go through the interconnects, and even though they're far faster than copper wires on an organic pin grid array, it still gets it out of that chip domain, and through some kind of interface and through a different piece of silicon. So it's troublesome.
Michael in our YouTube chat clarifies it for us. They're using glue. It's glue. They're just gluing chips together.
Well, it's a bifurcated, glued together ring.
Well, that's what AMD is doing.
Yeah, totally not like what AMD was doing.
I didn't think it was,
Slightly
but
different.
I don't know. They never really talk about Infinity Fabric. Have you noticed they've never really done a deep dive into IF?
It's some copper that goes between the two. And it goes back and forth. That's what I understand about it.
Back and forth.
Let's talk about processor architecture some more.
Yeah, can we get back to Intel putting the angst in angstrom?
Yeah.
Yes,
Intel,
please.
18A, that's 18 angstrom. They don't want to say 1.8 nanometer. Process delivers 25% better performance and 36% less power consumption.
So this is 18A is looking like it's going to be one of their best processes in a long time. Now, remember, we've gone through a lot of marketing with Intel. Their 10 nanometer then turned into Intel 7. Their actual 7 nanometer was Intel 4. Then they, optimized the density of that process, and then called it Intel 3. And that's what some of the current stuff is made on, and it's getting competitive, but it's still not quite at TSMC level. However, 18A is getting a lot of attention because it seems to be hitting a lot of the sweet spots for that kind of density that they're advertising for, and companies like NVIDIA and I believe AMD are looking at Intel as a potential foundry partner, which, it's a brave new world we live in, and it should be, because these process nodes are so financially disturbing, the amount of money that you have to throw at them to get them to work, not to mention to implement them in an actual fab. A brand new fab build is something $10 to $20 billion. It's a lot of money. New tools. Yeah, now that EUV is there, that's a huge expense. The amount of electricity required to power EUV is like literally a small city. It's megawatt range of power that needs to be delivered. It's insane, but that's what they have to do to be able to get these litho levels. But yeah, 18A, it's seems like it's going to be pretty good. It's we'll see the first products in the second half of 2025. I don't know how far they are with their partnerships, what kind of tools they're offering. It's better than it used to be, just because they spent the last 10 years trying to get other partners to buy into their line so they keep them busy, but they didn't have the tools that TSMC and others like UMC did with their libraries and kind of the plugins for all of these automated trace and place and route solutions from Cadence and whatever. I know I'm just talking in circles here, but they've improved a lot of those things. Apparently, it's a lot easier now to spin up a product using Intel fabs, and this hopefully will be what gets them back on track, not just in their own CPU performance, but also being able to afford the manufacturing capabilities of being a cutting edge foundry again, which they haven't been here for the last few years. I mean, how many times did we see their 10 nanometer plus and Skylake? Yeah.
It looked like these are destined for laptop chips first, by the way.
Well, of course. There have been mobile first
was.
since Haswell, at least.
Yeah. So
Haswell was good.
Your ask on when you're going to see a really nice desktop part out of this? Yeah. Mobile first, as you say.
Do you know the longer we go on, the more, from a 10,000 foot view level, the more all of these processors are starting to look alike. I mean, there hasn't really been a revolution in CPU architecture in quite some time. It's all, you've got the front end with the decode, the TLBs, the L1 caches, and then you've got, varying size of execution units and how many pipes you got in that. And then you got the back end, and everybody's got an L3 cache that's involved to make things more efficient, and multiple DDR controllers.
How could you forget about Zhaozhen? The processor that's going to change the world and is totally unique.
Okay, no, I'm
more along soon.
There's strides being made in quantum computing. Don't forget.
Oh yeah.
And they're always will be just like Fusion.
Yeah,
it's just next
coming
year.
along.
Just next
year. Just around the corner. But Josh,
Microsoft's big announcement. It was that turned out to be just all marketing speak.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
kind of like AI.
Wank,
actually.
Yeah.
But the whole time, Josh, that you were talking about, there hasn't been a major improvement to processor. I'm just thinking, Brett right now he has visions of Apple Silicon topology. It's just. You say there's not been an advancement, Josh? How about foregoing x86 and going all ARM and just massive amounts?
They did that already. They went back to x86.
No, Apple didn't. In fact, they've deprecated all the Intel systems. They're all old. If you have a 2018 or 2019 system, come on, it's ancient.
Oh, I'm talking longer ago than that.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. They went to PowerPC, and then they went to Intel.
It's going to be Veneto in the chat. Quantum computing run by Fusion.
Yeah, cold fusion at
But
that.
of course.
All right, moving on to the next post. Wait, do you have something to add, Kent?
No.
No, you're
Nope.
just shaking your head. Okay.
Just listening to you all and agreeing silently.
I see. But hey, I'm not going to cut out your response. Actually, I will. Nobody will have any idea why he was shaking his head. From videocards.com, AMD confirms that their May 21st Computex 2025 press conference will feature key gaming product announcements. That's a funny way of saying RX 9060 XT. At least that's the assumption. We can infer that this is a Radeon because they needed a response to the 5060 and 5060 Ti, right?
And leaking specs wasn't enough. They need to push it a little more.
Yeah. Need to show a render of a made by AMD card that will never be.
Yes, that.
Okay. Well, I don't know why.
Scintillating topic discussion on that one.
Let me leapfrog. I'm going to do these out of order because we had a related post from Tech Power Up. It may not be that exciting to maybe we'll get 9060 XT. You can get a 9070 now sometimes. But those of you who were yearning for a 12-volt high-power connector on your RX 9070 and couldn't get it because Sapphire only had a NITRO Plus for the 9070 XT, they have fixed the glitch. The 9070 non-XT NITRO Plus with that 12-volt high-power
Coveted.
you crave.
You left out the word coveted, yes.
Yes.
As nature intended.
It's a very clean card. I love the way they implement it. It's in the back, under the magnetically attached backplate, and you just route it down along your motherboard and completely out of sight. You can do such a clean build with this.
How many
card.
bends are you going to have to put on that 12-volt power to do that?
You don't need to
It's pretty
ask
gentle.
questions like that.
Pretty gentle bend.
It's a fairly
Gentle bend,
gentle
get it?
bend.
Yes, I do, Josh. Thank you.
I've been really
And you can
surprised that of all the NVIDIA cards we've now seen with that 12-volt high power, we've not seen anyone do something like that with that plug, where it's hidden.
Wait. EVGA did.
What?
You know that
No.
prototype card? It had it on the back.
Head on the end. Head on the end.
Yeah.
You know, you can
Unfortunately,
get
we never saw that.
Outside
But
of like a Jay's 2 cents video, I'm sure we'll never see it.
yeah, I've always, of course, now Asus did their thing with the plug connector that wasn't using the 12-volt high power. You had to have one of their cards and boards specifically for it. And I honestly love that. I would love to see that become standard. Just, not having to run separate power to the graphics card at all. But anyway, yeah, I really like this implementation of the 12-volt high power on the Sapphire card.
Yeah.
And it took somebody like Sapphire to do it.
You can actually buy the Nitro Plus now, shockingly enough, if you go on Newegg and are willing to pay $1,200.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
don't do that.
You can buy the Nitro Plus for the 7900 XTX for about $1,000 when it shows up,
Yeah.
which is actually a savings compared to its original launch price.
Oh, I feel even better about my pick now.
I've got a 3090 sitting on a wall over here, not doing anything. And I just look at it every day and I think,
who doesn't really? Come on.
I should sell that. I don't even know how much I could get for that at this point.
The 3090, when I was retesting it for the 5090 launch, I was amazed at how slow it was. It was so fast when it launched, but
Yeah.
Well, it was only it was like 9% faster than the 3080, which didn't make any sense because the specs were so much bigger and you had all that memory and all that memory bandwidth. It's like, why didn't it scale?
Clock speeds.
yeah, it didn't have the headroom. But the 4090 is such a monster that blew it out of the water, and the 5090 barely. It's faster, but it's not faster enough.
No, the 4090 kind of spoiled us. Well, those could afford to buy it.
The 4090 is like the 9700 Pro all over again.
It's kind of like the we looked back a year ago, and they were actually on sale last summer for right around $1,500 to $1,600, and people thought, they've got to drop a little bit once the next generation comes out.
Surprise!
There might have been a moment. There's usually the moment has gotten a lot smaller.
There was a
nowadays,
moment. I think it was Lenovo who had one of their like OEM cards you could buy from their shop, and you could get it for around
one of the blower cards, right?
Yeah, something like that. But you could actually buy one for a while there for MSRP. I'm on Newegg right now looking up the 9070 just to see what the situation is. Sapphire
Every time we
Pulse?
mention EVGA, we should actually have a moment of silence. That was the suggestion from the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
The Sapphire
Jacob.
Pulse XT is only $30 more
$879
than the pure 9070. Oh, look at that. $949 for the... it's out of stock. Okay, out of stock.
Hey, there's probably a used one for $750.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's a bargain.
$879 in stock, ships and sold by Newegg. You can just buy a 9070 XT right now for $879.99.
That's still awful pricey.
It doesn't feel like the savings we were promised.
No.
But those were not real prices, though.
Oh.
Well, even like, XFX was telling us that their top end was going to be at least $849. But of course, in between the instability that we're kind of seeing and how much, demand there was, I think, the Micro Centers and the Newegg's and the Amazons, they're all optimizing their pricing to get as much out until we get a lot more in stock.
All right. Are you all prepared to be disgruntled? It's not Insecurity Corner.
Well,
I mean,
right now,
Synology making a stupid ass decision.
Synology. There was a report the other day that Synology was going to force you to use their branded hard drives that they just get from somebody and put custom firmware on, I guess, like DRM.
Semi-custom.
It's been confirmed to Ars Technica, higher-end NAS products will require its branded drives. But they're going to add a curated drive compatibility list after testing. So you won't be able to unlock all the features of the NAS that you bought unless you use their approved hard drives.
This just feels like Apple, I have to admit it.
No, but Synology is going to branch out into printers next.
So okay, this is very HP.
Exactly.
Wait, is the NAS the new printer?
Pretty much.
No, I don't think so.
No,
because
not everybody money grab.
Not everybody has a NAS. Not everybody has a printer. But yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to what can we do to make even more money? Well, let's make you buy our overpriced hard drives.
But they've got
I wonder if they're
a crowd that is like, I refuse to go to the cloud. I don't trust the cloud, and I will now pay extra money to not go to the cloud. Aren't you backing that NAS up to the cloud? Well, yeah, but that's different.
I wonder if they were having issues with people dealing with maybe less expensive, maybe not certified hard drives failing, and then Synology getting sort of a bad rap over it.
Brett, are you saying that almost everyone who gets one of these shucks drives from a Western Digital Easy Store?
Did I say that part out loud?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah, but some people are using Reds and they don't work well.
Well, because they probably got the wrong Reds, because got to get the Red with
the right firmware.
Yeah, wait, a blue or a green, you're fine. But
CMR versus SMR,
CMR
right?
or SMR?
Yeah. Yes. You want CMR, right?
Oh, I'm going to mix the two of them. I'm going to get one that's CMR and one that's SMR. And it's
definitely
fine.
Mix the two. It's all just about data access.
All we need to do is to get
latency
perpendicular. We need to get perpendicular.
Yeah, this is kind of like the tragedy of Dark Pelagius, the wise that they.
Oh, I never heard of him.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, it has absolutely nothing to do with this. No, this is actually the thing that reminds me of is
Pelagius the wise.
Yeah, no, the Quiznos, they had a good idea at corporate to make more money by forcing all of the franchisees to buy all of their products from the corporate supplier.
Oh, that's a callback,
and the
Josh.
Supplier was like 33% 50% more expensive than other options that they could get locally. So, not only do they have to pay the franchise fee, but they had to, help buoy the corporate bottom line by overpaying for all of their supplies that they couldn't get out of. And that's why it spread to 800 and some odd locations and then de-spreaded now to like 16 locations in Colorado. So this is a bad idea.
It is. The only plausible thing that I can think of that would make it justified is they were spending a huge amount of time on support calls from people just throwing random drives in. But this is not the solution. You do not force everyone to buy your own branded drives with slightly custom firmware. You just give QVL lists.
That's right. Let's Drobo this. There. Drobo was the way of the future.
Yeah, well, what happened to that?
Wait, yeah, they got quiz notice. I don't know what happened. I don't know. This went away. The company went bankrupt. I don't know what happened.
I actually bought a Drobo after talking to Alan. He's like, just get a Drobo. It's what you want. Like, he was big on Drobo at the time.
The concept is really cool.
I got one. And thankfully, I think I got it on Amazon because the transfer speeds off of that thing were unbelievably bad. And it was supposedly USB 3. I was told, well, you need a different USB 3 cable. So I bought a brand new USB 3 cable, extra shielding and everything. It's like, that's not.
That was the wrong one.
It was 32 megabytes per second max.
Ooh, blazing.
So I returned it.
Upload was good, though.
And no one has seen Alan since then.
No.
Yeah, you Drobo.
Because he's designing his own NAS system.
Right, and then he said, screw it. And then he just built the world's biggest home network.
Yeah.
Nice, Josh.
I haven't sang that song in years because we haven't, obviously heard from Drobo in a long time. I had forgotten about them. Drobo.
You're welcome.
Hey, you're welcome too.
Yeah, you too as well.
For people who heard it. For people who heard that.
I missed it. Josh, can you sing the Drobo song again, please?
No, I'm not going to sing you Drobo humping Slobo. I don't want to demonetize.
Whale.
Yep. They were interesting.
Next, how to stay on Windows 10 instead of installing Linux. Now, hear us out. This is a story from the Register. Can't run Windows 11 or don't want to? There are surprisingly legal options. It does say you have to reinstall everything. Do you really have to clean install? Is this some patched version?
Yeah, yes, if you're going to go LTSC,
it's enterprise. Okay. It's just cut to the chase. Yep. It's the punchline is there are several versions of enterprise that are going to be on extended release date or release support until 2030 something. That's one way to do this. And if you can find a place maybe to buy a single license of enterprise. Maybe you've got to buy 5. Maybe you go in on it with a few people. Maybe you find someone who's willing to cut you a license, but they're not the same as the desktop version. So you'll have to get an enterprise key in order to run it. And you will have to completely burn down your computer and build it up again with a new version. Now, there's an advantage besides, all this pain in the ass. But the advantage is it doesn't have a lot of the crap that the commercial version is, or the over-the-counter version is typically stuffed with. It doesn't have a lot of that stuff you weren't using anyway.
There's one
because when your bank
catch.
finally upgrades their ATM from Windows 2000, this will probably be the one that they go to. Because this is often used for IoT devices. And that's why it's going to stay around forever. Because who updates their POS systems?
The people who want to run Office. Because in a related story, Microsoft Office apps soon won't be supported on Windows 10.
Whoops.
It's not okay. Office 365. If you own a perpetual licensed version of Office like 2019
good luck getting
or something,
one of those.
You can still buy
2024. There's a 2024 version I found out that's a direct install. Nice. Yeah, you can grab that. So it's not like it doesn't stop running. It's just that they don't guarantee that it will run anymore. And
it's just going to force people to pirate it. That. I mean, either let people legally run your software and easily purchase it, or face the consequences, and those are the consequences.
So if you plan on kind of sticking with that Office suite, you might want to invest in the installable version, which will likely be patched and fixed for a longer period of time, because the over-the-internet version is probably going to hose you.
Yes.
Microsoft will see
And don't
to that.
worry, they will occasionally tell you your licenses are no longer valid, but it goes away. Because they did that to home users last week.
It was either a week or two ago that we talked about Amazon's Starlink competitor. And they were already launching. It was already up in space by the time we talked about it.
It's going to be awesome.
Apparently there's been some production delays.
But hey, we got Katy Perry into space.
We did.
We sure did.
And she came back.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who are waiting for a Musk alternative to your satellite internet, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're supposed to. There's some sort of government deadline, I guess. I'm not sure what government deadline is being mentioned in this, but they got to put up at least 1,600 satellites by next summer. So they've got like a year plus to put a lot more hardware in orbit. And Starlink's already got like 8,000.
That is a lot of crap up in space.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, space is big, mind, but still.
How big?
But
it's really big.
Like
glowingly big.
It's really big.
Going to get to the point where we can't even see certain constellations anymore.
Big. Yes.
There'll be new constellations. Like, look, it's Elon. Look, if you draw a line between all the different Starlink satellites, you can see Elon's face.
Google Kessler syndrome and see what we're worried about.
It's like connect the dots.
Mm-hmm. You know what else is like connect the dots? Connecting the dots of everything you've ever done on your PC at all times. With Microsoft's Windows 11 recall. And Ars Technica goes into it. Andrew Cunningham over there looked at recall. I guess he has to. As a journalist who wants to report on it. I would never use it, but it's very in-depth. He goes it's screenshot by screenshot, which is funny because that's how recall works too, is, constant screenshots of everything you do at all times.
Yeah, I just don't believe that it's going to be able to avoid the conflict of saving the things that people might want and not stepping into grabbing things that it shouldn't be grabbing. We all know how convenient this is going to be for the next bit of malware that somebody clicks on and accidentally installs or owns themselves. Stop clicking on things, or stop infecting yourself. Same. It's just potentially going to make things very convenient. Yeah, you haven't typed in your credit card in a month, but, thank goodness, you typed it in and we got it
Thank
screen
goodness
grabbed.
we have a copy of everything you've ever done up here in the cloud.
That'll make it very convenient for grabbing.
So from any device in the world where you might happen to be, log into your Microsoft account, we can get that for you.
Don't get me wrong. They say the filtering is improved and the encryption is just on point. But
technically, yes, it has improved from utter and absolute uselessness to useless. I'm just waiting for the pattern recognition because that will be the next, offering is, hey, did you know that at this time every day you access these specific websites and turn your smart lights off?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Or we can help you mimic those behaviors.
The most important thing about this is that apparently in Windows features, you can just uncheck it and completely remove it, allegedly.
I'm sure that's not a placebo. I'm so sure.
It makes me feel good to hit that checkbox.
Are they going to rename it the Really Friendly Stranger?
Yes. Overly friendly.
Ouch.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
Our first story, Chrome bails on Google's privacy sandbox and OpenAI wants to buy it and make it AI first. Of course. I mean, what else would OpenAI do with it?
What could go wrong?
All good news, right?
Right. Well, no, it says right here in this article by Jeremy Hellstrom, it's all bad news.
See, the thing is that Google is facing a lot of antitrust suits right now. And apparently they sort of figure that because ad companies are promising, pinky swearing, that they won't be tracking you quite the way that they were in the past. And Google is a little worried that, if we put in something that stops third-party cookies from appearing, someone is going to come after us again and say that, no, we're now taking over the industry on blocking and blocking, tracking, and enhancing privacy. They're actually probably not wrong. But on the flip side, they've been promising this for 6 years now. There has been a promise from Google that we're going to do this thing where the cookies from the site that you're on are still going to download properly. The site is still going to work perfectly, but we're going to block those third-party ones, which not only don't need to track you on the site you're on, but will hang around and track you for the rest of your session. They've tried a couple of times. They've swung. They've missed. But the Privacy Sandbox was a lovely little mix of privacy and not forcing this upon people. It was a way you could tick on an option on to be able to sort of stop third-party cookies from tracking you. I say sort of because there are still LSOs and a bunch of other ways that people would track you, but it was at least a veneer of privacy. And yeah, Alphabet's just thrown their hands up in the air and said, no, that's it. We're done. We're going to try and improve incognito mode a little bit because we're allowed to do that. Yeah, surprise, incognito mode is not as great as you think it is. But hey, they're going to help it a little bit. There are still options that will be offered to block third-party cookies, but this whole Privacy Sandbox thing, well, they're paving it over and putting up a parking lot for a new ad server. It's very frustrating. It's all part of the fact that they dropped one specific contraction off of their
agreement.
Was it their mission statement when they first started, Sergey and
right?
Yeah, no, it was the
do no evil, right? Do no evil, and then you don't have to worry.
They sort of dropped do.
It was don't be evil.
It was don't be evil. They dropped don't. So
just be evil. Yeah.
And so to make things better, because as I mentioned, they are under antitrust right now, and there's a bunch of organizations, including the U.S. Department of Justice,
Jeremy,
that want to break it up.
This is on search. This is on search. You know what? Just let's have them come at Google. They're going like, come at me, bro. Let's figure out a way so we get money. Who needs the money? They're already throwing buckets and buckets of money at everybody, to get their search on everything. They already know the next frontier is getting the AI engine into every device. So they're already going like, we're still going to keep search. We're going to keep a lot of it. Yeah.
But if they can sell it off now, they don't have to worry about that antitrust part.
Yeah. It's fine.
Google can still keep doing its thing. Because you know what didn't work for OpenAI? Taking over Bing search. Because they did that. ChatGPT runs the Bing search, but Microsoft literally needs to offer you money to use Bing as your search engine.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, your web browser.
It's like a bounty program for users.
Google essentially did that at the corporate level. I mean, they paid Apple's, they paid Samsung, they paid the browser makers to get Google in as the default. Well, of course, eventually all of these engines, that's really what they are, these environments had to open it up and allow browser, or search engine selection. But that doesn't mean that a lot of people took advantage of that. The defaults probably live on, and most people's, in their heads and in their environments, rent free. What do we say when we want to search something? Google it. So there you go.
What? No, I say Bing it because when I use Edge,
I'm sure
Bing.
You're going for that $2 million, aren't you?
The points I rack up by doing all my browsing in.
I mean, Edge that's going to amount to something. That's going to it's going to amount to
a total loss of self-respect.
On the Microsoft Store at some point.
So the thing is, OpenAI has the money to actually do this. If a legal decision comes down to say, sorry, Google, you got to dump Chrome. And it's never been like it's a little bit of a stretch here, but it's never been like an operating system how to divorce a browser from being built in. There's no precedent in that at all whatsoever. So we'll see. But yeah, if they do it, it will become AI first. You probably won't even be able to swear in your search string to be able to block the AI results coming from the top. But I would refer you to last week's podcast when we talked about maybe it's time to break our habits about what search engine we use, what browser we use, and maybe just, vote with your feet electronically. Anyways.
Yeah, vote with your wallet for that free browser. And all the data they're mining from you, also unpaid.
But give it to someone else for a change, because these Firefox, Chrome, they're becoming horrible.
All right, that topic is depressing. Moving on from Security Week, files deleted from GitHub repos leak valuable secrets. Wait, they didn't delete them?
No, people did delete them. And if you think about it, it really isn't that hard to understand. Git is a version control system where developers check in and check out code. Let's just say you, as an innocent developer, accidentally check in your API keys or some credentials. Oh my gosh, let me delete that and re-upload that. Ooh, good thing that's gone. Well, it's not really, because the whole point of Git is to be able to roll back your objects back in time and retrieve them. So what a researcher did is they actually cloned a lot of many checked in code bases out of Git, reconstituted them locally, and then trolled through the history objects in there looking for API credentials and secrets and logins and S3 buckets and email stuff, and found thousands and thousands and thousands of them, because this is actually not trivial. You really do have to prune them. You have to do like a rebase and check it in with pruning options with filtering and pruning in order to.
It's like
really
a 6-step process to actually get rid of something.
Even doing that doesn't necessarily guarantee it, because as soon as you check it in, somebody could have downloaded it or copied it or done a pull on it. You don't know that. So if you've ever checked in set of credentials or keys or whatever, you really need to rotate them and then just not do that anymore.
And this,
unfortunately,
pairs as lovely as a nice Chianti with brain matter as what does some of the other ones we've mentioned before, where a Git project goes dead, but doesn't get deleted, and so someone squats it, grabs it, immediately grabs the keys to it. Now they can use that to revive some of the old. So if you're digging through it, it's like, okay, no, all of this looks legit. All of this is still what I was doing. Oh, they've got a new version out. And you're hosed. Yeah, it's a good thing Microsoft took these guys over, because
is it though?
They've made it much better.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of trouble in there. So this is just a warning to people who use Git that if you've made this mistake, you're already in trouble.
It's too
late.
late.
Rotate the keys or the tokens. You can assume it is.
You have access, because you may have bailed on that a while back.
Yeah. So like 5,000, repos are in there or something like that with keys and stuff in them. It's not just a few, it's a lot.
Speaking of trouble, if you use an Asus AI Cloud router, you could be in trouble unless you update. You need to update your firmware. There's a 9.2 out of 10 vulnerability out there that could permit remote attackers to perform unauthorized execution of functions on susceptible devices.
Yeah, 9.2 isn't bad. I mean, it's not, the 10 that we... that we really kind of sink our teeth into. But this is definitely a situation if you're running one of these AI routers or AI cloud routers. There's this whole suite of services that you can go to kind of turn off, or you can just patch it, or as they recommend, hey, if it's an end of life, device, maybe you should get a new one. I mean, that's sort of like the manufacturer's recommendation as well.
Yeah.
I do appreciate
and totally from the same producer, because I mean, you can totally trust them to keep the support going.
Oh, clearly. Yes.
I like
just turn. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like their helpful guide to passwords here. That's all. Do not use consecutive letters or numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. A through J, or, the top row. Don't do the top row.
QWERTY up. Hey, you didn't even mention that Asus was nice enough to release a fix for the AMI bug that was like a 9.8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's the American Megatrends BIOS hack for a lot of servers out there. If you've got the remote access, it pretty much any redfish will let you get into their servers. And it's not just Asus, by the way. It's pretty much everyone. It's just that Asus actually released a patch for it. So hey, good news. If you're running one of their servers and you're actually running redfish, do the update. It's a BIOS update. Do it now, because that's the best thing about 2024 and 2025 are viruses that infect your firmware and cannot be getting rid of until you toss the damn thing.
Next, from Security Week, bot traffic has finally surpassed human traffic. Yes,
Finally,
51% of all internet traffic is now bot-driven, and a growing share of it is malicious. Shocking.
Yeah, 37% of that, 51% is what they would just euphemistically label as bad bots. 14% are good bots. And much of this, as they say, is fueled by criminal use of AI. Oh, shocking.
Good bot will be ChatGPT or whoever it was that threw money at the start.
Good until we find out it's also bad.
Yeah.
I just assume any bot traffic is bad traffic.
I mean, spam overtook legitimate email probably before YouTube was formed. It's been over 2 decades. Yeah. So yeah, now we're just seeing pure internet traffic is mostly out to kill you, or at least scam you of all your savings. In a way, I'm surprised it took this long, but the thing was that AI sort of leveraged a bunch of the wastes of space that we have on this planet to increase their traffic without increasing their overhead costs by hiring more people or enslaving more people is probably more likely. So it's now hit. When your internet is slow, it is because no one is trying to enforce stopping these people from going. Because, well, sadly, they hang out in all the places where enforcement is difficult to do and questionable if it is even levied. So, yeah, welcome to the brave new world.
It's time for gaming quick hits, and Bethesda has celebrated the launch of the Elder Scrolls 4, also known as Oblivion, now remastered with all new visuals to captivate the audience that fell in love with the 2006 Game of the Year back in the day. Immerse yourself in a WRPG for the ages. It's not Skyrim.
I would be, but you made me do a podcast.
I've been alive for 87 years.
Well,
this is the seventh seed of the whatever.
The end of the seventh.
So they redid a bunch of stuff.
Thank you, Jean-Luc.
And what else is on here? Video Cards had a story talking about the fact that, wow, these screenshots look very nice.
Oh, it's bloody gorgeous.
DLSS 4 and FSR 4 are enabled day one.
RT is enabled?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, RT.
Look at this.
Yep, even on AMD.
This is beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous, mate. Because, here, and I pointed this out, in 2006, you needed 4.6 gigabytes of hard drive space, a minimum 2 gigahertz processor, 512 megs of RAM, and a GPU with at least 128 megs. The remaster is 125 gigabytes of space. They suggest at least 32 gigs of RAM in your system and an RTX 2080 or 6080 or RX 6800 XT or better. It's a wee bit different under the UE5 engine. And it is bloody gorgeous. And the best part about it, the icing and the cherry on top of it, is that, well, the video and audio, and audio is brought to you by Unreal 5. It's Bethesda's creation engine still. So the jankiness is still there. You can run into a highwayman who demands 100 gold pieces or he's going to attack you, and you say, yeah, sure. And then you sneak behind him and pickpocket him and take the 100 gold back, and he just sort of says, yeah, I didn't need that anyways, and walks off. it's still as glorious as it ever was.
Yeah, I thought they would do the whole thing and scripting and whatnot from scratch, but no, they did not. They essentially just use UE5 for rendering and enhanced audio. So it's UE5 kind of running on top of their old 20-year-old plus engine, and it works.
I mean, it's the same
somehow.
one from Daggerfall.
Really
It's
well.
over 20.
Yeah. Well, no, it was released in 2007 officially. Oblivion.
Yes, but I think it was still using the same engine ported from like Daggerfall and Morrowind.
It was enhanced from Morrowind because they had to do a lot of stuff under. But yeah, but it's it's like talking about Codemasters and their Ego engine. They were using the Ego engine back in some of their first Rally things. They just kept upgrading it and updating it and got to like Ego 7 until they got bought up by EA and decided to go Unreal 4 for their WRC
Ego.
24. Yeah.
But yes, Josh and I can both proclaim that it is a hell of a lot of fun. And my God, it's gorgeous. Even better, a bunch of the modder community have figured out that those 20-year-old mods still kind of work. There's a little bit extra you have to do to get them to work, but don't worry, they will fix that. So if you want the blown out colors of the original, you can have them. If you want to get rid of inventory weight, you could, but I mean, what's the point of not struggling over what should I throw out so that I can run back to town or not? And yes, you get horse armor for free.
Really? I thought it was you had to do the extra $10 to get a couple of extra things, but no, they include
you do get a couple extra things. And I did throw the extra $10 in, but no, they made a point of making the horse armor available for everyone.
And the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that didn't upset people back in the day.
No, not at all. That was the first little extra, cost addition that was absolutely
cosmetic, but
yeah.
Give us money.
So I'm running a 4070 Ti Super, which is still a pretty fast card, and I've got it in the ultra wide aspect that my Samsung 49-inch monitor has, and with everything enabled, it gets 35 to 40 frames per second, and that's without the multi-frame. You turn on the multi-frame, and it goes up to 70 to 80, and it's shockingly playable with that. So you turn on the reflex, and was AMD's reflex? I can't remember.
That's NVIDIA.
Too many words. Yeah. So anyway, you turn that on,
actually
and
works.
It plays really shockingly well, and it's super stable. Haven't had any issues.
Have you noticed, though, especially when you pop out in the capital city, that occasionally there is texture loading?
Yeah,
you will see for a brief moment, pop, 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 pop.
Yep.
I thought Direct Storage was going to fix that. I thought we were going to have access. Okay.
John Carmack had something to say about it. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Next, Star Wars Zero Company will excite turn-based combat fans, says Jeremy Hellstrom. Turn-based games in current year? Oh, I guess it's okay. Like a strategy
next year
type game?
Yes, and it's gritty and dirty because these are not your heroes. These are the professionals fighting the war that no one ever talks about. So it's more than a year off. It's not even a solid release date. But of all of the game styles Star Wars has done, they don't do many of these. And from all the pre-rendered trailer, it does look gorgeous. At the very, very end, there is like about 7, maybe 8 seconds worth of possible gameplay.
Oh, okay.
And it does look a little interesting. It looks very XCOM.
Yes, I watched the trailer for this game drop at Star Wars Celebration last week. I wasn't there. I was watching the live stream. And I was really excited. I thought it was an animated film or series coming. The storyline looks really cool. I'm not a huge fan of turn-based combat. One of the guys I work with is also a big Star Wars fan, and he loves that style of game, and he is like already freaking out over this game. He is so excited, even though it's at least a year away. And like I said, the story looks really cool.
Release.
Yeah, the story looks really cool. So I'm very anxiously anticipating, but I know it's a way off.
I would definitely be into this as well. I like XCOM, Mutant Year Zero kind of overhead combat exploration type thing.
But every once in a while, you got to go back and play Doom, or Doom 2 in this case. From Ars Technica, 12-year-old Doom 2 challenge map finally beaten after 6-hour, 23,000 demon grind. Now, there's a disclaimer here. This was beaten before, apparently in 2023, but that was at the I'm Too Young to Die difficulty. So,
which halves the damage, in case everybody doesn't know.
Yes.
And doubles the ammo.
This one was done at full strength. I can't even imagine what this would be like.
I mean, you must know about Okuplok.
This is 6 hours long.
Well, the video, 6 hours long.
I mean, it took them 6 hours to do this.
Yeah.
Well, because part of it is that you are presented with more demons than you can possibly kill. You don't have enough ammo. So a lot of the time is like circle strafing around giant crowds of demons and waiting for them to kill themselves from incidental damage.
Okay.
Because you literally can't do it by shooting, although he's kind of blasting the plasma right now. It's someone who just designed an unbeatable map, and they have been going at it since it was dropped. And it's taken 12 years for someone to actually do it on ultraviolence. They did speaking of AI, with an AI assisted just pure speed run, technically possible in under 2 hours with mechanically perfect input. But for someone to actually do this, no, this guy has been doing it over and over and over again to try and memorize exactly what to do in each situation. I don't grasp this. I understand some people get, focused on something and obsessed, but this is just wild.
Do you know what would be able to help them out nowadays, Jeremy? Microsoft Recall.
Oh.
Yeah. Watch me as I play this. Ooh, this is a tough part. I was only able to beat this once. Don't worry. Recall's got you. We'll just input those moves that work.
I'm now convinced that during that flashing earlier, Brett was replaced with an AI. That's not really Brett.
He does look slightly different. I don't know if this is the same.
He does.
It's hard to say.
You're just noticing now.
I need my They Live glasses to see if that's actually Brett.
Oh, I love that movie. I
don't see you chewing bubble gum.
All right. Well, you know what? We've talked about video games a lot. What about board games? Helldivers 2, the board game.
It'll never make it.
This is ridiculous.
12 minutes.
They wanted 60,000.
12. Yeah.
They got 3,000%.
Oh, that's pounds.
Yeah. It's all reached in 12 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yeah, 1.8 million pounds.
I think people want this.
Yeah, people kind of want it. They've been talking about this on Board Game Geek for a while, like it was a real thing. And I just happened to browse through it today and saw like, oh my gosh, it's actually going to happen. They went to funding, I guess, yesterday or last day or so.
No, they're going to take the money and run. It's never going to happen.
They funded this in 12 minutes. 12 minutes and 26 seconds. Yeah, I think this is going to be a thing. Board games, still very cool.
You know what this is going to lead to? Star Citizen, the board game.
Additional tabletop games?
But it'll be an alpha.
I was
the
gonna
board
say,
game.
fewer children
CDP.
born.
Yeah.
Oh,
CDPR actually announced a cyberpunk board game
Yep.
late last year. They did a long video of playthrough on it. Oh my God. I can't
You know why it
imagine
sucked,
wanting
Brett?
to put
I
it
thought
looked
Cyberpunk was
so complicated.
Again, do you know why it sucked? Because it was an RPG first.
It was exactly.
It was a pen and pencil dice RPG.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you can't make a board game of it. It's an RPG. Dig out those
Yep.
old books. Play
Yep.
that. Friday Night Firefight.
I have those books.
Oh, good on you.
Yeah.
Love playing that. Played it with a guy who was in the army. So you couldn't get away with weird crap, but with an FN and a chain feed, you could certainly ruin a building.
They'll.
I just
I'm sure
always
they'll
wanted
listen
put
to
more-
reason.
They always the thing that always sticks out to me to Cyberpunk, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that when you're rolling out a character, you had to figure out how many electronic spots that you have in there so that it doesn't overwhelm your humanity.
Yes. Humanity was actually vampire. It was empathy, I think, in the in Cyberpunk. But yeah, that was part of the thing. Is one of your stats would give you the maximum amount of cyberware you're ever allowed to have. And I used to play a dot character, so I would, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily, perform amputations on certain damaged limbs. Yeah, hope you can fix that one. So yeah, not a board game. It's a role-playing game. If you don't know what those are, look it up, and then go buy some dice.
Wait, don't spoil it.
it's time for picks of the week. Josh, do you want to get us started this week?
Is it Oblivion?
No, it's not. So yesterday, went down to Denver for an appointment with the son. I got real excited because I was like, I'm just going to go to Micro Center. And if they have a video card there that I'm kind of looking at somewhere reasonable close to MSRP, I was just going to get it. Just going to, grin and bear it and take it. Because, I've had the 4070 Super TI Super for a while now. And I think that, out of the stuff that's available, a RTX 5080 is probably really the only upgrade path that I could reasonably have. I mean, a 5070 Ti Super is a 5070 Ti. There's no Super yet. Is about 10% faster than what I have, and I'm just not willing to pay $900 for that. And plus, Microsoft didn't have any 5070 Ti's, but I saw a bunch of RTX 5080s. PNY, they had probably about 20 of them in there, plus a Zotac, and then of course the creme de la creme. It was a refurbished Asus 5090 for only $3,400.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. So, I still have a kidney. I still have 2 kidneys. So I didn't get that. And I was like, oh, you got the PNY. What's the current price on that? It's $1,410. And I got very sad because I'm not going to pay almost 50% more than the MSRP on a video card. Especially if it's only got 16 gigs of RAM. And memory in there. So anyway, I went away empty-handed. I was thinking about getting a mechanical keyboard because the one I've got in my front room is it's got some of the keys sticking and I can't get them fixed. And again, they really didn't have anything there, and it made me very, very, very sad that I went to Micro Center, whole 2 hours away, and there were no specials that were interesting at all. Their motherboard selection was really overpriced for what you got, and but I missed this one. Apparently, and this is the pick. They've got a Ryzen 750 to 100 XT for $150.
Wow.
So if you've got an older platform like an X470 motherboard that some snot-nosed kid's been running for almost a decade now, not quite that long, and refuses to upgrade, and his 2600 XT is just not holding up in games. Well, this is a nice, relatively inexpensive option that you can just pop in there, and suddenly everything is bright and shiny. And 150 is not bad for a pretty fast processor still.
I forgot the XT was even a product.
Yeah. Everybody always talks about the X3D, but
XT, was it the higher clocked version of the X?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I missed
I still haven't bothered to go up to an X3D. I'm still running that chip on this spin.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Especially if you're gaming at higher resolution. So
exactly. That's the thing.
I am.
If you are,
because yes, the 3D would actually give me an extra 1 or 2 frames, possibly
at 1080p. No, it's even slightly faster at 1440. Once you go up,
it would. And I'm doing 1440
or 4K. Then it's
But we're looking at an extra 1% increase for buying a totally new processor.
But what about your 1% lows? I mean, don't you want that?
It's going to be higher.
Ultimate smoothness.
I like my sweet chariot.
Mm. This is still a 5800X, not even a T.
Mm.
Seems to be working okay, except for this light.
Yeah. Well, once you get an AMD powered light, then you'll be okay.
Yeah. I'll look for that.
By the way, Brett, did you look for anything else lately? Do you have any picks?
I did. I went with
Wait. Sorry. It's Jeremy next.
Right.
I thought we'd already done Jeremy, but we haven't. Okay, no, it's my fault. Jeremy, your pick this week.
Well, I was going the exact opposite way of Josh, and I was going to brag how if you're up here in Canada, you can buy 9070 XTs at the actual price they're supposed to be sold at, and you don't have to go out of your way to do it. They have dozens in stock of various models. I just picked one, which was the Ace Rock. But yeah, these are Canadian prices, and if you translate that to American, it's going to be significantly cheaper, well, except for import duties. But they have dozens in stock across the country. They would like you to come into the store, not online, but yeah, if you're in Canada and you've got the dosh, you can buy these. If you try and search for an NVIDIA card, on the other hand, yeah, good luck. They don't even do waiting lists. So AMD seems to be doing a very good job of supply, at least some places.
In relation to demand.
Yes. I mean, that is the curve, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like
supply, demand.
We can applaud AMD. You have your supply has been just fantastic. Great job, AMD.
No, I'm more applauding the retailers who refuse to take the extra money.
They'll buy a 5090 or a 5080 apparently at almost any price, but 9070 XT is like, it's trades blows with the old XTX. It's better at ray tracing.
It's not a bad card at all. And you know what it plays well? Oblivion.
Of course. All right, now it's Brett's pick.
So I was looking around for some board games, and I'm like, yeah, board games are pretty cool. What's out there? I was checking out Board Game Geek. That's where I ran across
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that's not where the story was going, but yes. So then I was like, you know what? There's like maybe some cool Kickstarter. After I saw the Helldivers 2 on the site there, I'm like, what else is being kickstarted? And I found these dice, not these specific ones, but these other dice that were like heavily balanced and perfectly weighted and all that. I'm like, oh, those are really cool. They were like $200 for the dice, and I'm like, does anyone else make like nicely balanced dice? Apparently, yes. There are a few other manufacturers of decently well balanced dice where they have paid attention to how much material they're removing from each side in order to engrave the numbers and have a consistent material to balance them. It's actually
it's more going to roll natural 20s more frequently, right?
not necessarily more going to roll natural 20s, but the idea is that it's statistically likely to roll more any number rather than just the opposite numbers.
Oh, so it's going to roll one a lot.
I hope not. But anyway, this is a much more affordable option for fully balanced dice for OptiDice for about $13. You get a one set of Dice Lab.
Bad.
They call it the Dice Lab. They're fully balanced, numerically balanced as well, which distributes the numbers so that there's some mathematics that go behind as to which numbers appear where on which sides and how they add up, and how often that they appear. But anyway, they've drilled and engraved the numbers on the sides of the material such that, like I said, the same amount of material is attempted to be removed so that they're not out of balance. $13. Bring balance to your board game.
Oh, and they're selling the Temple of Elemental Evil too, so you can kill all your characters off.
Kent will now bring balance to the podcast with his pick.
Yeah, so if your smuggling vessel has ceased working, your hyperdrive is broken, and you can't find your hydro spanners, how about a nice, small, pocketable multi-tool to help you fix whatever you're working on?
Sweet.
Yeah, $20 for a nice little metal multi-tool. It's got plenty of uses. There's even some various sized hex heads on it, so you could use it as a wrench. Yeah, I saw this and thought it was a pretty cool little thing. So show your fandom and get some work done.
That's the best damn pick I've seen in a while.
Like the screwdrivers in the docking bay areas.
I've got you beat this week, Kent, because my pick is even more useful. It's a tool that can change your life in ways you never expected. It's the OXO V-Blade Mandolin Slicer, which can do amazing things to carrots until you go a little too far on the carrot and part of your thumb ends up in the plate as well, which is what happened to me on Sunday. So I threw it away, and a little bit of the end of my thumb is gone. You can't see.
Yeah, you got something to remember it by.
Yeah.
How was the salad?
Thrown away.
It wasn't vegan.
It wasn't.
So anyway, that's my anti-pick. Don't use a mandolin slicer. It comes with a little tool, and yeah, you can be really careful. But carrots, though, just like, no, you just hold the carrot and you go back and forth, and then, oh no.
Never going to do that.
That happens so fast. YouTube chat says, it slices, it dices, it makes finger fries.
It does. It's so effective at cutting through flesh. It's amazing.
Yeah, we talked about the butcher's glove before we started the live show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or knife gloves.
Or you could just not get the mandolin and use a chef knife.
All right. We need to end this show. Josh, do you have an outro in your system? You want me to riff something?
You know, summer is on the way. That means for those of us in the northern hemisphere, it means longer days, much more pleasant weather, and more lack of snow for some. What it may also mean is that eventually AMD and Nvidia will start catching up on video cards. Yes, there are wafer starts out there. There are dies being cut as we speak. And as that happens and people refuse to buy these $1,400 video cards, we may actually see not only manufacturers but retailers decide to lower prices. And plus, because everybody in the Northern Hemisphere is outside and not playing on the computer, people will not be buying. So, take heed, save your money, and buy something in the summer. And still go outside. Good night.